Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to my live. So recently I asked an AI 10 questions and got some answers that I would like to share with you. They are quite constructive answers, quite revealing, but then I think it's probably because of the way the AI itself is programmed. Of course, that would be why we'll have such answers that I got. So if you were to ask an AI questions, if you had the opportunity to ask an AI questions, what would you ask? Now I'm going to tell you the 10 questions that I asked an AI and the answers I got based on those questions. The first question I asked the AI was, when will the world end? When will the world end? In response, the AI said, there is no scientific or factual evidence to determine when or how the world will end. Speculations and predictions about the end of the world have been made throughout history by various cultures and belief systems, but none have proven to be accurate. It is important to focus on the present and work towards creating a sustainable future for our planet rather than dwelling on an uncertain future. That is the answer I got from AI on the question, when will the world end? So you could say that the AI is programmed to give scientific and constructive answers to these existential questions. Now, the second question I asked the AI, remember I had the opportunity to ask the AI 10 free questions. So I'm asking you, if you have the opportunity to ask an AI 10 free questions, what would the questions be? I already told you the first question that I asked the AI, which is, when will the world end? Now I'm going to the second question, which is, does God exist? Does God exist? So the AI said, the existence of God is a question that has been debated for centuries and is ultimately a matter of personal belief. Different individuals and cultures hold varying beliefs about the existence and power of a higher power. Some people find evidence of God's existence through religious texts, personal experiences, or philosophical arguments, while others find it difficult to believe in a divine being without concrete evidence. The existence of God is a deeply personal and subjective belief that varies from person to person. So that is the answer I got from the AI on the question, does God exist? Again, what I noticed from the answer is that the AI is programmed to be very objective and constructive in its responses to existential questions. The next question I asked the AI is there life after death? Is there life after death? The answer I got from the AI is, the concept of life after death is a topic that has been explored in various religious, spiritual, and philosophical traditions. While there is no concrete scientific evidence to prove or disprove the existence of an afterlife, beliefs about life after death vary among individuals and cultures. Some religions and spiritual beliefs posit the idea of an afterlife where the soul or consciousness continues to exist in some form beyond the physical death. These beliefs often include concepts such as reincarnation, heaven, hell, or other realms of existence. On the other hand, some individuals and philosophies hold the belief that death marks the end of consciousness and there is no continuation of life after physical death. Ultimately, the belief in life after death or lack thereof is a personal and subjective matter influenced by individual perspectives and cultural traditions and personal experiences. Again, that is the question I got. The answer I got from the AI on the question, is there life after death? Then the next question that I asked the AI is, will robots one day turn against human beings? Will robots one day turn against human beings? This is the answer that I got. The notion of robots turning against human beings is a common theme in science fiction. However, it is important to distinguish between fictional portrayals and reality. The behavior and actions of robots depend on how they are designed, programmed, and interact with humans. In reality, robots and AI systems are created to serve specific purposes and carry out programmed tasks. They lack consciousness and free will, which are attributes generally associated with making decisions and exhibiting intentions. While there have been instances of accidents or malfunctions involving robots or AI systems, they do not indicate an inherent desire or capability for robots to turn against humans. As technology develops, it is crucial to prioritize ethical considerations and design systems with safety measures in place. Responsible design, regulation, and ongoing evaluation are necessary to ensure the integration and development of robotics and AI in a manner that aligns with human values and safeguards against potential risks. The next question that I asked the AI was, are heaven and hell real? Are heaven and hell real? The answer I got goes as follows. The existence of heaven and hell is a matter of personal belief and is often rooted in religious or spiritual traditions. Different religious faiths and cultures have varying perspectives and descriptions of heaven and hell. For individuals who hold religious beliefs, heaven is commonly understood as a place of eternal bliss or reward for those who have lived in accordance with the principles of their faith. On the other hand, hell is often depicted as a realm of punishment or suffering for those who have acted contrary to moral or religious teachings. From a scientific or empirical standpoint, heaven and hell are concepts that can be proven or disproven since they pertain to the realm of the supernatural or the afterlife, which lies beyond the scope of scientific inquiry. You see, that still shows that the AI is programmed to respond in a scientific and constructive way to questions. It goes on to say, it is instructive to respect and acknowledge the diverse beliefs and perspectives surrounding the concept of heaven and hell, bearing in mind that personal beliefs and cultural backgrounds influence individual interpretations of these ideas. Then I asked the AI, will man one day live in Mars? Will man one day live in Mars? Then the AI said, the idea of humans living on Mars has been a topic of scientific and technological exploration for many years. There are ongoing efforts and plans by space agencies and private companies to send humans to Mars and establish permanent settlements there. Organizations like NASA, SpaceX, and others have outlined ambitious plans to send humans to Mars within the next few decades. They are working on developing technologies to enable safe and sustainable human missions. This would involve challenges such as long-duration space travel, radiation exposure, life support systems, and creating habitable environments on the Martian surface. However, there are still many significant obstacles that need to be overcome before humans can realistically live on Mars. These include technological, logistical, and medical challenges, as well as addressing ethical and legal considerations. Additionally, space exploration and colonization require substantial financial resources, political support, international cooperation, and public interest. The success and timeline for human habitation on Mars will depend on continued advancement in technology, funding commitments, and global collaborative efforts. While the goal of humans living on Mars is within the realm of possibility, it is important to recognize the significant challenges and uncertainties that need to be addressed before it becomes a reality. So these are the some of the questions I asked AI. I asked the AI 10 questions, and I still have some to discuss. I've seen Iroro all the way from Canada. How are you, Iroro? Good to see you. Mabel, House of Maybe. It's good to see you. And Edo good to see you. Welcome to my live. So I had the opportunity to ask an AI 10 free questions, and I got some answers, and I just want to share them. From my interaction with the AI, I think that the AI is programmed to respond scientifically and objectively to existential questions. Of course, some of these questions have positive or negative answers, polar responses from individuals across cultures, but you could see the AI standing in the middle in trying to provide answers to this question. And I think it's quite interesting, isn't it? The way the AI goes about responding to these questions. Then I asked the AI one vainglorious question, and that is if the AI knows me. If the AI know me, so I asked the AI if the AI knew me. I simply asked, who is Ayoitum? And this is quite funny. The response I got from the AI is quite funny, because it says, I'm sorry, but I couldn't find any specific information on an individual named Ayoitum. It's possible that this person may not be widely known or may not be a public figure. How sad. if a item is relatively unknown or private individual, there may not be much information readily available about them online. Okay, so, but I do not think, based on this response, I do not think that the AI got this answer in real time. I think it is, AI simply gives the answer based on what the information it already has at that particular moment. Because you see, this AI is interacting with me. I am a item, you know, and he's interacting with me at the moment, but cannot identify the person. I think probably if I had asked Google, maybe Google could have found some answers, which is why I'm saying that probably the AI already has some predetermined information available to it that will not allow it to get information in real time about the questions being asked. So that was a very funny one, because I'm speaking to the AI and the AI denies my existence. So maybe if you have an opportunity to ask the AI some of these questions, you can ask the AI whether they know you as well, and whether that particular AI will be able to do that or give you the right response. And then I go on to vary depending on one's personal beliefs. Okay, thank God we are back. I think we had a slight break because of network, so I'll just continue. I'll simply take the answer again. What is the purpose of life? The question of the purpose of life is a deeply philosophical and existential one, and different people and cultures have proposed various answers throughout history. The answer to this question can vary depending on one's belief systems, cultural backgrounds, personal values, and individual interpretations. From a religious perspective, some may believe that the purpose of life is to fulfill a divine plan or to serve a higher power or deity. Others may see the purpose of life as a journey of spiritual growth, moral development, or seeking enlightenment. From a more secular or philosophical perspective, some argue that the purpose of life is determined by each individual based on their own values, goals, and sense of fulfillment. It can involve personal achievements, building meaningful relationships, making a positive impact on society, or pursuing happiness and self-actualization. Ultimately, the question of the purpose of life is deeply personal and subjective. It is up to each individual to explore and determine their own purpose based on their beliefs, passions, and values. Wow. So again, that's another objective answer given by the AI to the question, what is the purpose of life? Then I went on to ask the AI, which is the greatest book of all time? Which is the greatest book of all time? The AI said, determining the greatest book of all time is highly subjective and can vary greatly depending on personal opinions, cultural context, and individual interests. There are countless influential and highly regarded books from various genres throughout history. Here are a few examples that are often mentioned as great works of literature. Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes, War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, 1984 by George Orwell. The Holy Bible is at number 6, one of the greatest books ever written. The Odyssey by Homer, Hamlet by William Shakespeare, 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez,
and The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. So the AI gave me 10 books considered to be the greatest of all time, and I would like to just take them again, so that if you ask someone in literature, you should try to read these books, right? Because the AI recommends them as the books that are often talked about and mentioned as the greatest in the history of books. Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. Number 2, War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Number 3, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Number 4, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Number 5, 1984 by George Orwell. Number 6, The Holy Bible. Number 7, The Odyssey by Homer. Number 8, Hamlet by William Shakespeare. Number 9, 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Number 10, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Again, it is important to note that opinions on the greatest book of all time can vary widely, and what one person considers great might differ from another person's perspective. It ultimately depends on individual tastes, interests, and literary preferences. Then I asked the AI, will Africa become a superpower one day? Will Africa become a superpower one day? And the AI said, as an AI language model, I don't have the ability to predict the future with certainty. This is quite revealing. However, it is important to note that Africa is a continent with diverse nations, cultures, and economies. There are certainly factors that indicate the potential for growth and development in Africa. Africa is home to abundant natural resources, a young and rapidly growing population, and emerging economies. Some countries in Africa have experienced significant economic growth and development in recent years. Additionally, there have been efforts to improve governance, infrastructure, education, and healthcare in several African nations. However, Africa also faces various challenges, including political instability, corruption, poverty, and conflict. This AI is so good in analyzing the problems of Africa. So good. Goes on to say, these challenges can impact the pace of development for the continent as a whole. Whether Africa becomes a superpower in the future will depend on a multitude of factors, including resource management, political stability, economic policies, regional integration, and investment in human capital. Okay, so our leaders should pay attention to some of these things that the AI is saying, because the AI is quite objective and quite straight to the point, precise in pinpointing the factors that might make for a greater Africa. All right. It is also important to remember that the concept of a superpower is fluid and can change over time, with different nations and regions rising and falling in influence. And those are the 10 questions that I asked the AI and the 10 answers that I got, and I have to bring this live to an end at this point. Let me just ask, if you had an opportunity to ask an AI 10 free questions, what would the questions be? You can drop them in the comments. Oman Anderson, good to see you. And to everyone, Iroro, let's talk, Iroro. I have a few things to share with you. Member House of Mevi, thank you and Edo, thank you. Bye.